You may not remember the pain, but your body does. The wounds you buried deep, the emotions you pushed aside, and the moments you tried to forget. They're still shaping your thoughts, reactions, and relationships. These invisible scars don't just fade, they hide and fester, quietly controlling your life. But healing is possible. In this powerful journey, we'll uncover how past trauma lingers in the mind and body, and more importantly, how you can finally break free. If you've ever felt stuck without knowing why, this is the truth you need to hear. Today, we will talk about the wounds you forgot are still controlling you. Here's how to heal. So before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. Invisible scars, the pain you don't remember, but still feel. Not all wounds bleed. Some are buried deep, hidden under layers of business, distractions, and time. Childhood experiences, emotional neglect, betrayal, or trauma that we thought we had gotten over often still echo in our present behaviors. You may not remember the exact moment you were first rejected, abandoned, humiliated, or dismissed, but your nervous system does. These forgotten wounds quietly shape the way you relate to others, yourself, and the world. Do you sabotage relationships the moment they get close? Do you strive for perfection, terrified of making mistakes? These aren't random personality quirks. They're survival adaptations. Your mind may have tucked the pain away, but your body and emotions never forgot. The hard truth is, unhealed emotional wounds don't vanish. They linger in your fears, reactions, and choices. And until you bring them into the light, they'll continue to silently drive your life from the shadows. 2. Trauma isn't always what you think it is. When people hear trauma, they often think of war, abuse, or violence. But trauma is less about the event and more about your response to it. Trauma is what happens inside you as a result of what happened outside of you. You might have grown up in a normal household, but still carried trauma from emotionally unavailable parents, chronic criticism, or being forced to suppress your feelings. Maybe you were never physically hurt, but were constantly told to toughen up or stop crying. Those moments taught you that your emotions weren't safe, that your needs were too much, that love had to be earned. That's trauma, and it shapes your entire emotional blueprint. The problem is, because it doesn't look like big T trauma, you don't think it matters. But these subtle, repeated emotional injuries often cause the deepest wounds, and they're the ones most people overlook. 3. The coping mechanisms you mistake for personality. You're not too sensitive, too intense, or too closed off. You're wounded. Many traits we think are personality are actually defense mechanisms created in childhood to protect us. That perfectionism, it's a survival strategy. If you're flawless, maybe no one will reject you. That constant people-pleasing, it's a way to earn love you didn't receive unconditionally. The emotional detachment is how you kept yourself safe when expressing vulnerability led to hurt. These patterns often become so ingrained that you don't even realize they were built on pain. They're not your fault, but they are your responsibility to understand. Healing begins when you stop shaming yourself for your behaviors and start asking, what hurt am I protecting? The moment you start seeing your triggers as teachers, not enemies, you could begin unraveling the emotional knots you've been carrying for years. 4. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget. You may have moved on mentally, but your body never got the memo. Anxiety, tension, insomnia, chronic fatigue, and digestive issues often have emotional roots. Your nervous system, especially the vagus nerve, stores emotional trauma. If you were ever in a prolonged state of fear or sadness as a child, your body may still be living in a low-grade fight or flight mode. This is why trauma isn't just psychological, it's physical. Unprocessed emotional pain creates real, tangible symptoms. You may feel disconnected from your body, prone to panic attacks, or unable to relax, even when everything seems fine. Somatic practices like breathwork, EMDR, trauma-informed yoga, and body scanning help release these buried tensions. Talking is powerful, but healing often requires feeling. When you begin tuning into your body and listening to its signals with compassion, you open the door to true, lasting transformation. 5. How triggers are clues, not curses. We often dread being triggered, but triggers are not your enemy. They're your emotional compass. They point directly to where your inner wounds live. That disproportionate reaction to a friend's comment, it's likely tied to something much deeper than the moment. Triggers are messengers from your subconscious saying, there's pain here that needs your attention. Most people try to suppress or avoid triggers, numbing them with food, screens, alcohol, or toxic positivity. But healing only happens when you turn toward the pain, not away from it. Start noticing your emotional spikes. Ask yourself, what does this remind me of? When was the first time I felt this way? That's where healing begins, not in fixing the present moment, but in unearthing the root of the emotional wound behind it. Triggers don't mean you're broken. They mean your inner child is still waiting to be heard and held. 6. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about your freedom. One of the heaviest burdens we carry is resentment, whether it's toward a parent, ex-partner, friend, or even yourself. Unresolved anger eats away at your emotional and physical health. But here's the truth. Forgiveness isn't saying what happened was okay. It's saying you no longer want to be imprisoned by it. It's giving up the hope that the past could have been different. It's choosing peace over pain. Many people resist forgiveness because they confuse it with reconciliation or weakness. But forgiveness doesn't require an apology. It doesn't even require the other person to be alive. It's an internal release, a decision to stop letting someone else's actions control your present. Write a letter you never send. Scream into a pillow. Cry the tears you never allowed. Let the pain flow through you so it no longer lives in you. The more you forgive, the lighter your spirit becomes. 7. Reparenting yourself. Becoming the safe space you never had. Healing old wounds often means giving yourself what no one else did. This is where reparenting comes in. It's the process of nurturing your inner child, validating your feelings, setting boundaries, and creating safety within. If you grew up with criticism, you need compassion. If you were neglected, you need attention. If you were smothered, you need space. You can't rewrite the past, but you can become the adult you always needed. That means learning to talk to yourself gently, not harshly. Creating routines that support, not punish you. Staying no without guilt. Celebrating progress over perfection. Reparenting is slow, sacred work, but it's how emotional wounds are finally healed. You become your own healer, your own protector. You stop waiting for someone else to save you and realize you had the power all along. 8. Healing is not linear, but it's worth it. Let's be honest. Healing is messy. Some days you'll feel empowered, and other days you'll feel like you're drowning in emotions you thought you already processed. That's normal. Healing doesn't happen in straight lines, it spirals. Every layer you uncover brings new insight, new pain, and new freedom. You're not failing because you're triggered again. You're evolving. True healing takes time, patience, and an ocean of self-compassion. But every moment you choose to face your pain instead of fleeing from it is a victory. Every time you soothe your inner child instead of silencing them, you reclaim power. Eventually, the wounds lose their grip. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop surviving and start living. 9. You deserve to heal, even if no one apologizes. One of the hardest truths about healing is accepting that the people who hurt you may never take responsibility. They might never apologize, never admit what they did, and in some cases, they may not even remember. But your healing does not depend on their acknowledgement. It depends on your decision to honor your pain and choose peace for yourself. You don't need their permission to heal. You don't need closure from them to find closure within. Waiting for someone else to validate your suffering keeps you stuck in their control. The real power comes when you validate it yourself. When you say, that shouldn't have happened to me, and yet I choose to rise. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment and click the button to subscribe.